found him and asked if this was where he had lived before. Suho did not know what to do and felt that something was wrong. He pointed in one direction and said, "There used to be a snowy mountain there." He also pointed in another direction and said, "There used to be a grove of fruit trees there." Young was caught off guard. Suho told her that the roaring sea was a dangerous place where no one should go. She asked if he had written the notes, and Suho said that he had. He said that it was how he remembered the civilized world. When he moved into the cave where he hid from other animals, he started writing. Even after he moved, he went back to write in his journal so he wouldn't forget how to write. So Young asked if the lizard men were there, and Suho said that they didn't always live there. She then asked about his animal friends. Suho told her that leopards were in charge of the area and that the lizard men had made them too weak to leave. Young pointed to the fog and told Suho that it was the end of the dungeon and that they couldn't go any further. This made no sense to Suho. All of a sudden, a lot of lizard men showed up and the rest of the group joined Suho and Young. Young didn't understand why so many lizard men were attacking at the same time. Then they saw the king of the lizards. Suho saw that the king was wearing a skull, so he told Young to stay with the others and not jump at the enemies yet. Granny was feeding a pigeon when it suddenly lit up, which surprised her. Suho turned his arms into wings and landed in front of the king, avoiding the spear. He then joined with Baektu and bit the king's neck as they both fell off the mountain and crashed violently to the ground. Young's group was shocked, but Young told them he was still alive and told them to get ready for battle. Miso and Junho threw rocks at the lizardmen while So shot arrows from his crossbow. Duhu beat up the lizard king by punching him over and over and taking off the skull he was wearing. Then he asked where the leopards were. The lizard king didn't answer, so he hit him on the head weakly. Suho got so angry that he took to the air. The group kept fighting the lizardmen until they saw Suho in the sky with the Lizard King. He threw the Lizard King at the horde of lizardmen climbing the mountain, causing the mountain to collapse and the group to fall with the lizardmen. So Young stood up to make sure everyone was okay, and Suho told them the door was open. Kim Miso and the captain were waiting outside the portal when Suho's group came out. The captain saw Suho and thought he looked weak. When Miso tried to talk to him, Suho turned into a pigeon and flew away. Miso asked Young about the recording, and he told Minsu to go back to HQ with Miso. Miso stopped Minsu and told her that she needed to come with them. The mission to watch Suho was over, and she was being sent to the northern Eagle border to help protect it. Young was surprised. Minzu told the director and the captain about what was going on in the dungeon. When the captain saw Suho beat the Lizard King, he was scared. When the director asked Minsu how strong the Lizard King was, he said it was a rank, but Suho easily beat him. The director thought that Suko's skills were better than S's. Young said that Suho's dimensional energy is rank, but his fighting skills are rank C. His strength varies when he fuses with an animal, but it is thought to be at least S rank. She also said that Suho's skills can go as far as he wants. In contrast to other awakened errors, the captain wondered if all of your regulars were like Suho and thought that if everyone who had gone missing came back like Park Suho, their country would become a superpower. My engine was taking a group of kids to a shed with farm tools, but they didn't know they were being watched. Young and her group went to the Dong-su border, where soldiers said things weren't going well. Young looked at her phone while Suho slept, and she saw that her call had come in. Su was surprised to see a big donation, especially since Suho had just told Junho that he had come back from a level 4 dungeon. Suho had hoped to meet up with his friends, but instead he ran into a group of lizard men. He thought about his family's past battles and wondered where his friends had gone. He thought they might have teleported out of fear of the lizards. Suho came down to eat, and at the table he asked about Su Young, calling her Blondie. Dong-su was shocked when Junho told him that Sohu didn't know Su Young's name, but Dong-su told him that her name was Joy Su Young. Junho also told them that they needed to find more people to help run the measuring device and that they wouldn't be able to handle the portal bursting with the number of people they already had. Du asked me about my oxygen, and Junho remembered where the elders, orphans, and Sol Dings were when they tried to call my Anjan, but he didn't answer. When Su Young's group got to the neck of Roville Resin, they were told to turn off their phones. So Young did as she was told and turned off her phone, but Suho saw that she had missed calls and tried to call her back but couldn't reach her. Kim, Miso, and the captain went to see Suho. Miso told Suho that they wanted to know how he was able to do what he did in the dungeon. Suho insisted that learning to adjust takes 1,000 years of hard work. The captain got mad at Suhu, accused him of being selfish, and told him to help the country out of its trouble. The captain said that level 6 dungeons were happening more often, they were taking less time to break, and the number of infected people had gone up, putting stress on the city because of a lack of food and people. The captain kept saying that Suho and other people with strong skills were badly needed. Suho asked Miso about the people who were sick, and he said that after a big change, an unknown virus spread through the people who lived in the fields. The first person to get sick was a North American man named Bill. Necro was what the infected said. Voles are neither alive nor dead, and they attack and infect people without thinking. My engine showed Suho where the Neckerval Redskins were and told him that if their numbers grew, it would be harder to travel by land and dungeons wouldn't be able to happen in the fields. She thinks it's an alien virus that got in through a portal and is spreading quickly, making it hard to stop with the resources they have now. In exchange for letting the dungeon be looked at and hunted in, Suho will get 2 gifts. His guild level will go up to 5, and they will give him a territory close to the one he already has. She asks him if he can keep danger away from the east of Seoul. People are moving to safer places because of neck levels and dungeon breaches caused by the disaster. But people live in big cities. Suho asks if he should move to Jayati and help refugees. She says that people who come together can help rebuild the city by building commercial areas, clearing farmland. If Suho's guild proves that they can run the territory, well, they can make a lot of money from it. She suggested putting mobile modular houses in the business district in case the portal breaks, since a long break would cost the guild a lot of money. Suho thanked her and asked what was going on in North Korea. The captain told him that their command system was badly damaged when the disaster started. So the survivors are wandering around aimlessly because they can't manage the dungeon in a logical way. And there are holes everywhere, he said. It wouldn't be long before they fled to the south. Suho agreed to sign a contract after making sure that he didn't have to live there for 100 days. He asked to meet the person who made the device for measuring dimensional energy and to find my engine's phone because the person who made it wasn't answering it. She agreed that Jeshwijk was in line at the Schiller Guild mercenary recruitment to get an interview. The Silla Guild is a group of highly sought-after mercenaries that was set up by Silla Corporation, the largest company in Korea. Only 2 times a year do they accept applications, and the process is hard, but those who are chosen get a lot of help. Jeshika applied with high hopes, even though it was hard, and was surprised to pass the first stage. After 3 years of working for smaller clans and as a freelance mercenary, his skills were finally recognized. Jesh-ik was nervous, because he knew that after the interview, only 10 of the 50 people who had passed the first round would be chosen. Even though he knew this was a very rare chance, he got a shocking message. In the meeting room, the interviewer was disappointed by the average candidates, but Jesh-ik's resume stood out to the captain, who decided to hire him. When the next batch was called, however, Jesh-ik was not there. One of the other applicants said that he left without warning. The message that Jesh-ik got was from Suho, who invited him to join their guild and gave him an address as he ran away. Jesh-ik realized he didn't have to think about it because Suho had saved his life and was the most talked about person in Korea. A group of rebels were following behind a military convoy. One of the soldiers said that the roads were getting dangerous and that they should have stayed on the safer route. Another soldier said that they had no choice because if they didn't take this road, they would get there late. They looked up and saw a group of necrovoles eating a monster in their path. The soldier gave the order to shoot, but the other soldier was tired of making the rebels angry. The first soldier kept saying that they were close to the Dabang aerial military operations area. They fired their guns to try to get rid of the rebels. The soldiers' attack was successful in getting rid of the monsters in their way, but it also drew the attention of the rebels around them, who charged at them. The soldiers shot at them as they ran away. While that was going on, rebels from my Anjong group looked for a place to hide. The monk said he was sorry, because he was the one who suggested they go there and didn't know about the microbial invasion. My aunt comforted him by telling him to get away with the kids first. They found a building, and everyone was told to get ready by my engine. Just as they got out of the car, Rolls caught up with them, and my engine moved forward to block the horde, even though his skills were still on cooldown. Suddenly, fairies showed up and used multiple tornadoes to wipe out the horde. Anjin and his group were surprised to see Suho standing on top of the building. He told them to move away from the tornadoes so they wouldn't get sucked into them. Suho then called for more tornadoes, which sent all of the neck roll into the air. Suho was happy that his skill worked. The soldiers were trying to fight off the neck rivals when one of the vehicles flipped over and the creatures surrounded it. Do-young, who was in another vehicle, checked the cameras and was surprised to see an oval that looked like a neck. She told him to open the door and thought of a way to get to Team 7's car. They went outside and Soo-young quickly killed the robles who were standing in their way. When a neck-level attacker attacked her, she cut it in half quickly and killed the others that were around her. When her team looked at the overturned car, the driver was dead, and the other person was trying to open the back door. One person cried out that they were going to die if the situation didn't change soon. As the horde got closer, they got ready for a close fight, but a sudden explosion killed the rebels who were coming towards them. The soldiers saw reinforcements coming in and landing nearby. Soo-young was still fighting when she was approached by one of the reinforcements. She knew he was Jin-woo, his son. One of the reinforcements told the soldiers to duck as he got ready to attack, and Soo-young fired while Jin-woo protected him, killing all the neck rivals around them. At the same time, the neck rivals Suho had thrown were falling to the ground and dying. When the kids saw that the monsters were defeated, they cheered. Jeongjin asked Suho how he had found them, and while he was telling his group about Suho, one of the neck levels bit him on the ankle. Suho saw all of this happen. In Japan, a monster was destroying the city after a portal opened in the middle of it. This made people panic. A woman fell down and her baby stroller went flying into the street. An Akita hero came along and caught the stroller while his team went after the monster. The monster was killed by multiple slashes that cut it into pieces. People cheered as his hero walked away in the car. Akiko told him that Suho was just a dungeon returnee, and he was happy to know that he was right and was not making a big deal about Suho. But then he saw a picture of Suho's group and recognized someone as the 8th evil. It was Junhoo's son, Jin-woo. He knew for sure. Dan thought that since the child had lost his father, he should be in an orphanage. That's why he put him at the end of his list of people to kill. The worst bad guy was born in Korea. Hiro asked himself why he was there. He also knew Je's Ik, who was in Suho's group. He remembered Jesh Ik as the hellish swordsman. Jesh Ik is a swordsman. Yeongjin, who will be known as the Buddhist master who destroys forever, was surprised to see all those people in one place. Suho was shocked when Kiko told him about his fight with the Lizard King. Akiko thought that Suho was too strong for someone who had just come out of an F-rank dungeon. She went on to say that the articles that said Suho's life was strange might be true. Iroh was worried about why a strange person like Suho, who he didn't know, had shown. He thought that Suho might be a regressor like him, trying to change the future by gathering famous bad guys. This could hurt Hiro's plan, which he had been working on for 500 years. When Akiko saw that Hiro was worried, he told her Hiro wanted to go to Korea to meet Suho, but Akiko told him he couldn't do that right now. At the same time, the animals and vegetable garden amazed the kids. Maso heard about the Suho clan's dungeon activity while Myeongjin was talking to the contractor. He was shocked by how quickly they cleared the dungeons. Miso thought they could finish a dungeon in just 4 days. He felt overwhelmed and thought they should have limited the number of raids. At the same time, Jeongjae Ik was showing off the blade that Suho had given him, and he promised Suho that he would become a B rank as soon as possible. Yeongjin also went to Suho to ask for help. He needed a new weapon because his old one didn't do enough damage. He wanted a wing spear, but because of his low level, he couldn't buy one. Suho bought him a spear, and Myeongjin thanked Suho a lot, promising to pay him back with a lot of curses and massacres. Kiko told the hero that they couldn't go anywhere because a wyvern nest outbreak had shut down both the air and sea routes. Hiro was surprised by this news, but then he got a call from the minister telling him he had to go to Hokkaido right away for a level 7 dungeon appearance. Kiko pointed out that Hiro's prediction said this wouldn't happen for another 5 months. Hiro realized that things had moved faster than he thought, and if the level 7 dungeon couldn't be stopped, it would cause a worldwide crisis. This bothered the hero because it would keep him from getting ready for what was coming. Hiro thought that Park Suho was the only thing that had changed, and he was sure that people close to Suho would also have great skills in the future. He thought there was only one regression stone, and that Suho might have gone back in time to a future that was further in the future than his own. Hiro thought that Suho knew about him and his future, so he was eager to meet him soon. If Suho's goals were different than his own, the hero was ready to kill him for the good of all people. He told Akiko that he wanted to go to Hokkaido first. Inside the dungeon, Suho asked my Anjan for an area taunt, and my young Jin gave it to him. Dong-su told him to go louder. The group got ready for battle when they heard monsters coming. The lizardmen showed up, and Suho used a tornado to call his spirits and throw the monsters into the air. By sniping the lizards, it's easy to get points. Another group of lizards charged, but my engine used Dragon Rush to kill many of them. The lizardmen that Suho sent flying started to fall, and Junho charged forward as Sue called out to Jesh-ik to stun them. The lizardmen that had fallen stood up and Junho killed them. One of the lizardmen came close to attacking Suho, but Jesh-chi cut off its head to stop it. They continued to kill monsters around them. Jesh-ki thought about how no other guild would train a knee-rank mercenary in a level 4 dungeon to help them level up. Suddenly, a lizard king appeared next to Jesh-ik. Junho attacked from behind and cut off one of its arms. Jesh-ki gave the final blow by cutting off the lizard king's head. He was surprised at how easy it was to kill the lizard king. Since the boss was dead, they had to leave the dungeon and leave the blood crystal behind. This made Dong-su feel bad. Jesh-ik said he was sorry, and everyone ran toward the door. Said they were running, Yongjin felt pain in his neck from a bite. The team sent by the captain to check out the dungeon didn't find anything strange, so they moved on to the next area. As they got closer to the base camp and formed the Mat Lizard Spearmen, the captain told 2 of his people to deal with it. He asked where the Lizard King could be found. At the base camp, one of the agents saw something, but then they looked up and saw the Lizard King. Group with the captain saw the explosion and heard that the enemy had broken into the base camp and was now attacking. The captain ran quickly back to the base camp, beat the lizard men who were blocking the way, and told everyone to go back to the base. At the same time, Jinwoo told Su-young that they had gotten in Soas while on their way to Giants. Su-young told Jinwoo that they were supposed to meet with Giants. Jinwoo told her that there had been 2 level 5 dungeon breaches in the field and that the whole CDC was on the move. He offered to stay with them until they reached the 2nd Armored Brigade. Suddenly, a monster's fireball hit one of the helicopters. Thojer told Kim Miso that a member of the special force who knew how to record videos sent the video to the CDC. Kim Miso was angry at the person who drove through a neck-level red zone and put everyone in danger. She threatened to kill them if they came back alive. She tried to call Su-young, but there was no answer. At the captain's base camp, the Lizard King cut off one of the soldiers' arms and jumped on them, but they both died when the soldier set off a bomb. As the door opened, the head of the Lizard King fell in front of the captain and his group. This made the captain curse and feel embarrassed. When Kim Miso heard what happened, she couldn't believe that so many people died in a level 4 dungeon raid. She asked if any hints had been found, and the agent told her that no hints had been found about the item. They found that time moved twice as fast in the dungeon as it did outside. Kim Miso thought about Suho, who had been in the dungeon for 20 years before he came back after 10 years. But they already knew that Suho's claim that he had been there for 1,000 years was true, and if the time he spent in the dungeon was doubled, 500 years would have passed on Earth. Kim Miso was curious about what had happened. She told the scouting party to get bigger and move faster because the Sohu team was getting through the dungeons too quickly. The agent said that the Suho team had stopped trading after about 7 hours and 50 successful clears. They were on their way to the bureau to get their Awakener cards updated. Dong-su, my Anjin, and Jesh-ik were all sleeping in the car. Suho asked Jesh-ik if he was tired. Jesh-ik said that it all seemed like a dream. Even though he had worked hard for 14 years, he had never gotten to a level 3 dungeon. But on his first day with the Suhu Guild, he raided a level 4 dungeon 50 times and killed lizard warriors who were the same level as bosses in level 1 and 2 dungeons, even though he was barely an Ankh. After 3 years of hard work, he was a dear friend. He said that if he had joined the Scylla Guild, he would probably still be a beginner.